Welcome to Bridging the Bay, the podcast where we connect the people, ideas, and partnerships shaping the future of real estate and community across Tampa Bay. I'm your host, Quan Rimmer, and in every episode, we explore how leadership, accountability, and collaboration are influencing where and how we live. We're recording live from the Bree Framework studio because every property has a story, and how that story is told matters. Bree Framework specializes in real estate photography and that highlights what buyers need to see clearly and honestly. Learn more at FabreFrameworks.com. Today's episode is one that I know will touch a lot of hearts. When families are facing some of the hardest moments of their lives, especially when a child is experiencing a medical crisis, having a safe place to stay, a warm meal, and a supportive community can make all the difference. And that's exactly what Ronald McDonald House Charities of Tampa Bay provides every single day. Joining us today is Bree Tramontana, Associate Director of Corporate and Community Engagement, to talk about their incredible work happening right here in our community, the organization's recent expansion, and how all of us can play a role in supporting families in need. Bree, welcome to Bridging the Bay.
Thank you for having me.
Perfect. Let's start with the heart of it all. For those who may not know, can you explain what Ronald McDonald House does and the families you support?
Absolutely. So, our mission is to provide essential services that support the greater needs of families that have children seeking medical treatment in local area hospitals. Now, what are essential services? It's pretty broad, right?
Yes.
It's because we're a global organization, and the essential services that we provide to families down in South America, Central America, all throughout the country could look a little different depending on what location you're in. If you have more rural families, families from more rural areas you're helping, or if you're in the middle of a downtown busy city. And so for us and our Tampa Bay chapter, the essential services we provide are going to be 5 house locations that provide nightly meals to every single family, as well as supplemental amenity services such as laundry, day use services, forever coffee flowing, and generally anything else a family might need that we can potentially provide.
Good. What inspires you to get involved in this work, and what has your journey been like?
My mentor was the previous volunteer coordinator for Ronald McDonald House. She was with the organization for 22 years. We have a lot of longevity in the area. We're celebrating our 47th year this year being in the Tampa Bay community. And so she was with them for 22 years and since the beginning, and she was my mentor, specifically in volunteer coordination. I was having a lateral position over at the Dali Museum at the time and was looking to make a change, make a move, and she was retiring. And so asked me if I wanted to get to know the organization more, if it was the right time, and it was. It was a perfect match. I was so grateful to be able to have the opportunity to connect with the charity and organization, but then also find that they thought I was the right fit too. And so I've been with them now I'm going into my 9th year.
Nice. Congrats. I imagine working so closely with all these families creates some incredibly meaningful moments. Mm-hmm. Can you share a story that really shows the difference Ronald McDonald House makes for families?
Absolutely. This is one that happened just the other week. I was in our Tampa house location, located near Tampa General Hospital, right at the base of Tampa General Hospital. And many of our families come from all over the country, all over the world, and generally outside of a 2-hour, 3-hour radius, and they have no idea what they're walking into. They just know that they have a resource and accommodation, but most of the time they have no other idea of what they're walking into with us. And so I was checking in a family. We always know when a family's coming to the house. We don't always know when a family's leaving because that's always dependent on their child's treatment. So I knew this dad was coming to check in and join his family. His wife and his other daughter, who wasn't receiving treatment, so the sibling of the patient, was at the house already, and he had been working throughout the week, so he needed to come a couple days later. Mom and additional daughter were not there, and so I was catching him up, letting him know these are the things we needed, these are the amenities. And he was looking at me kind of like a deer in headlights. He was just, you could tell, overwhelmed with the amount of information he was getting, taking in his surroundings. His wife wasn't there. And finally he stops and he looks at me and he said, how far is the hospital from here? Do I need to take a shuttle? Is there a bus? Like, where is it? He was not familiar with the area. I stopped and I said, kind of looked at him confused almost, like, we're very close. I said, it's right across the parking lot. You could walk there if you wanted. And everything else fell away and I could see the relief immediately on his face. And he looked at me and he said, point me in that direction. I'm going to run to the hospital. I haven't held my daughter yet. And so I opened the front door. I get chills every time I say this story. I opened the front door and I kid you not, he ran. I watched him run across our parking lot, the maybe 500 steps it is to the front door of Tampa General Hospital. And it was incredible. It was an absolutely incredible moment because what we do is we keep families close. Families stay at Ronald McDonald House. And it's just so important that they know we are as close as they can possibly get to their child and giving them the care that they need. And in that moment, it was all that dad wanted, was to go run to hold his little girl. And a couple hours later, he came. I was still at the house and he came back for a meal. And I was able to ask him, like, did you find it okay? Was everything? And he said, yes, I literally ran there. And it was just such a full circle moment of him understanding the services we were providing to him that he really didn't know at the time. And me getting to see those services just as immaculately as possible. There's really nothing like it.
Yes. What are some of the biggest challenges families face during these moments?
Yeah. A lot of it is unknowns. They don't know what they don't know. So many times their challenges are going to be different types of insecurities, whether that be food insecurities, whether that be housing insecurities. They're still trying to pay their bills at home. They're still trying to work. And all the while, all they want to do is show up for their child and just be there for their child. And so many of the challenges they face are just trying to operate as an adult human still, and also be the person that their child needs in the hospital and take in all the information about these complex medical treatments their child is receiving. And it's too much, quite frankly. It's just too much for any person, caregiver, couple to really have to go through. And so what we do is relieve those burdens by saying, you don't have to worry about paying for any services. You don't need to worry about where you're going to stay. That's the challenges that we take off your plate. You don't need to worry about how you're going to feed your family tonight. Those are things that we take care of for you. And it just makes all the difference because, again, all a family wants to do is show up for their child.
Yes. What does it mean for a family to have a place to stay during one of these medical crises?
It means that they can be as close as possible and that they stay in a way that is autonomous as well. Like we give them a key where they can access the house if they're in residence with us 24/7. So if they get called back to the hospital at 2 a.m., they can leave and go back to the hospital at 2 a.m. and then come back again. So it's the ability to come and go as they need to treat our home as good as they would their home, that they can raid the fridge at 3 a.m. if they need to, or midnight, and just like they would at their own house. And so those are things that, again, you don't know until you're in our spaces, but that's really what we provide. And even to families that aren't in residence with us, don't have an overnight room necessarily, they still have access to all of our common area spaces, all of the food, all of the business center, the laundry room. So those families that maybe live within like 30 minutes, 30 miles, they could go home at night. They could still stay with us as long as they needed to all day. That way they don't have to come and go, because we had a concert last night and it took 45 minutes to go 5 miles.
Yeah.
And that's just not acceptable when your child is in an emergency situation.
Yeah. I think it's kind of amazing just how something as simple as comfort and stability has such a powerful impact.
Yeah.
I love that. One of the exciting things happening right now is growth.
Yes.
Ronald McDonald House Charities of Tampa Bay recently opened its 5th location. at St. Joseph's Children's Hospital. What does this expansion mean for families in our community?
Oh, we actually, just as of yesterday, celebrated our 1 year birthday of this house. And it means that we get to serve more families better. And so we knew for years this was a dream house in the making for 2 decades that we were hoping to finally come to fruition, which it did ultimately. And so we added from our original 80 bedrooms, 4 locations, we added our 5th location with 11 additional bedrooms. So now we have 91 total. And what that means for families is now our North Tampa or Mid Tampa families who are receiving treatment at St. Joe's, they don't need to get over to Davis Islands anymore to stay. Because again, as I mentioned, with our Benchmark International Arena and the Raymond James Stadium, all of a sudden you get a BTS concert or you get the Lightning in the playoffs, and it makes traversing across the city insurmountable. The time is just all of a sudden it takes you all day to get across and you're just stuck in a location. And so for the families that we were housing at our Davis Islands location that were staying at St. Joe's, it was really tough. We were getting families saying it's just too far. It's just too far, which is incredible to even think, right? Like families were opting to find other accommodations because we were quote unquote too far. And that was too much for us. That was not acceptable for us and what we provide to families. We knew this was needed. And so it means that now we can help up to 300 additional families each year and thousands of day use families. So those families that come for those daytime services, we are 100 steps door to door from our Ronald McDonald House to the NICU. 1 floor. That's all families have to go.
Nice.
And so it is an incredible service. And last night we actually had, at the birthday party, we celebrated 3 families that were some of our first families to stay with us. And we got to see their little ones. So they grew with us.
Yeah, I like that. So the new St. Joseph's location, it's designed to serve hundreds more families each year now. So what new services or amenities are now available that make an even bigger impact during a family's medical journey?
Oh, so having brick and mortar locations, and we've been around again for 47 years. So some of our facilities have shown us what it is we need to provide to families in 2020s. You know, we have come through COVID and we've seen the difference families need now. It's not just about providing a room and a bathroom and common area spaces and a kitchen, very, understandably basic amenities. It's now about the holistic needs of the families. Families are staying with us longer than they've ever stayed before. And so do we need facilities for gym and wellness? We need tech capacity, so tech decks, private area spaces, business centers. We need these things because that's what families need when they stay with us. And we're finding that's what our hospital partners need from us as well. Because when our hospitals were built, when our original Ronald McDonald houses were built, those facilities in the early 90s, that's not what was geared towards. We were geared towards housing families. Now it's really, how do we make this experience as comfortable as possible? How do we become the hub for families at our hospital partners? How do we become the respite for families at our hospital locations? And how do we make it inviting for the hospital staff to come and also participate in our spaces? We now have an area inside St. Joe's. Something we knew that our hospital partners needed was a space where they could step out of their units and floors and actually have like a meeting with one another. And so now we have a study space where we can have private conversations with social work teams. They can host meetings on site. We're hosting one of our McDonald's partners on site for a meeting. And it's something that we see is incredibly needed now, is the ability, just like today, to get your community into the space that we're trying to promote. And so we've realized that's the thing we have to move towards, and that's what this house afforded us.
I like that. So, with Tampa Bay now home to one of the largest Ronald McDonald House chapters in Florida, what opportunities does that create for local businesses and community partners to get involved in a bigger way?
That means we have an additional location that they can participate in, and it means that our local business partners, the ones who maybe didn't see us as frequently because we weren't at St. Joseph's Children's Hospital, now they see us more frequently. We're so prevalent all throughout parts of Tampa Bay, both in St. Pete as well as North and South Tampa, that it has expanded our reach. Now we show, yes, you're in Tampa and our impact is immense, but we could always say it's, Davis Islands and outside of those areas, we know our impact is massive because our families come from all over the state. But now we can say, these corporations, we have more to offer you as far as getting involved at Ronald McDonald House. We can offer you new ways to engage. If you're looking for an offsite meeting, let us know. Maybe we can provide a tour. You could cook lunch, and you could happen to do your team building on site and get your business meeting done as well at the Ronald McDonald House. It allows the community to see us in a different light, not just a charity where they could necessarily do one specific task, but really where we can meet their needs as well for things that they're looking to do and collaborate on. And so it makes us a bit more sophisticated and makes our partnerships more sophisticated.
Yes, like that. How does the Tampa Bay community show up to support your mission?
Oof. We wouldn't be here without community. I always say that. There are 3 magic things you need to have a Ronald McDonald House. You have to have a medical pediatric, specifically, partner that has need for our services. You have to have franchisee support from McDonald's to get it off the ground. And third, you have to engage your community. If your community doesn't show up and doesn't use the services, well, then what are we going to do here? And so the community support is paramount. And the way the community shows up for us is they lean in, they push in, right? I am so grateful to work with so many different types of community and corporate groups, not only the schools in the area, but also the small local businesses, the larger corporations. And there is a lot to be said for folks that want to try something new or do something different. We instituted something called Baking Buddies at our locations because we saw the need to meet our community with things that a young family could do, because schools are asking young students to get more involved with community service. Well, then families don't know what they can do. So a way we've been able to close the gap on meeting the needs of our community is saying, well, why don't you come in and do Baking Buddies? A meal program can be a lot for maybe a 7 to 10-year-old. So what if you come in and do Rice Krispie treats? What if you come in and do that instead? And then you still get to be involved with our mission. Your whole family gets to also get involved. And that will be something where years later, we continue to see that partnership pay off, in the sense that in high school, they'll come back for their community service hours. When they're in college, when their family has the ability to give back, they'll find the way to do so. And so those are the sorts of amazing collaborations that push us to find new ways to offer opportunities to get people into our houses and see our mission in action. And also, it's something that meets a greater community need, which is to find places for people to be of service and to give service and to have that purpose.
What are some ways individuals or businesses can get involved beyond those financial donations?
Yes. Well, one is come in and take a tour. That is, for us, advocacy and awareness is number 1. Always. The more people know about what we do, the more people can connect us with others and make meaningful relationships and resources to us and can direct people to us. You're so right. It's larger than a financial commitment. It is making sure that we are here and that people know we are here for another 50 years, because those sorts of resources, that sort of ingrained culture of philanthropy, it goes so much further than just making a financial donation. It's getting your young family involved. It's working with the local schools. It's making sure we take on interns from local high schools and colleges to make sure that they know the tools and resources needed to run a nonprofit, which is a business. Yeah. And so making sure we elucidate those parts of our charity, the parts people don't always know, and how can we keep moving those forward?
Yes, like that. And what role do volunteers play in creating that home away from home experience?
Integral roles. We have 212 individual volunteers that are providing I mean, over $100,000 worth of time. The greatest resource we can give is our time. You know, we talk about the financial commitment. There's a financial commitment attached to giving your time. And so when we work with our volunteers, we make sure to make it worth their time. And so we have lots of ways where individuals and groups can be involved inside the houses, and that can be providing a meal. That's, again, another way outside of being a financial donor. You can come in and provide a meal to our families. How great. How wonderful when you, as like a neighbor, get a meal from your other neighbor, right?
Yeah.
Be that neighbor. Pass that forward. Be someone who comes in and provides a meal to one of our 5 house locations. Every night of the week, we're feeding families. If you have time as an individual, come in and volunteer individually. Our volunteers are absolutely the heart of our homes. They're the ones at those reception desks. They're the first face a family will see when they walk through our doors. And so we take that really seriously, and so do our volunteers. And they embody the spirit of Ronald McDonald House with making sure that everything feels like home and that you're walking into a friendly face.
And I know our audience includes a lot of professionals and business leaders who are always looking for ways to make an impact. We're going to take a quick break and be right back with more of Bridging the Bay recorded live from the Fabre Framework studio. Fabre Frameworks, your listings are a reflection of your brand. Fabre Frameworks helps realtors elevate both through consistent professional real estate photography that builds trust with buyers and sellers alike. Learn more at FabreFrameworks.com. I'm starting to see, we just did a community impact survey at STAR, and our members are really into the community service-based initiatives more than the mixers.
Mm-hmm.
You see that happening on your end as well?
Absolutely. It is a trend across corporations and companies. Corporate social responsibility specifically is really trending with finding meaningful, purposeful impact service opportunities. So they're partnering with organizations that really rely on physical, like a physicality presence. They want to bring 50 to 60 people on site, a whole department, what have you, and they want to be put to work is what we're seeing. And this is across, I mean, we were just at a Florida conference for Ronald McDonald House, and this was across all of our chapters in the state. They all were saying we've seen an uptick in requests to physically be put to work and do something. And so it's definitely trending, like I said, with corporate social responsibility. And I don't see that changing. Folks are moving away from being performatively of purpose. Not that mixers are bad. You need to network. You need to have these things. I think there is a time and a place for all of it. But we're finding that folks want those networking aspects at their service event instead, which is why we're building in spaces to be able to provide some of that, because that's where they're doing their networking. Is now they're adding in a component of, well, can we bring in a lunch and do a service, and we'll have our business meeting and a mixer at the end. So that's what we're seeing more of.
Okay. Our realtors work with families every single day and are deeply connected to these communities that they serve. How can realtors help raise awareness or support your mission?
Oh, well, the great news is realtors see a lot of people. They see a lot of people, and they're out in the community frequently. And so something as simple as wearing a Ronald McDonald House pin. So for instance, I forgot my pin today, but we have Ronald McDonald House pins with our logo on it. It is a small, significant, though, piece of awareness that lets folks know what you believe in, what you stand for, and who you support. And oftentimes, people want a recommendation and a referral of who to work with. They want to trust who you trust. People to people is still the best way to find resources, to get to know something. And so if realtors are saying, you know what, the best organization I know right now to partner with, if you're looking for opportunities, is Ronald McDonald House. Not only do they have 5 locations in 2 different cities, but they also serve families, and you can get your family involved, not just you as an individual, or you can get your network group involved, or you can get your company involved. So that's how realtors can help us, is they can use their networks and resources to promote advocacy and awareness for our resources.
Love it. What opportunities exist for partnerships or corporate engagement with organizations like STAR?
Yeah. So there's those on-site pieces where you can come, you can provide a meal to our families. It's where we provide the kitchen, the group provides the meal. And there's lots of variation and differentiation in between that. I work closely with our meal partners to make sure that they feel confident and comfortable when they step into that kitchen. They can also partner through additional ways. A lot of times folks too, they can't get a whole group together to come on site. It can be really difficult with remote workers or if you have different shifts that you're working with across an organization. And so another great way to get corporations to partner and be involved is to come to our events. Our events are fun and they are fantastic.
They
And
are.
it's another great way to network with other organizations. We do 3 signature events a year. Our first one was Clay's. It's a Clay's tournament that happens up in North Tampa, and that just passed in March. It's like a backyard barbecue, and it's so much fun. We have a mix of construction and tech and real estate all there in one space. And it sounds odd, but it works. 350 people came to this event. It is so much fun. The next we have coming up is going to be our Storybook Ball. And that is just a beautiful gala, but it's not your stuffy gala that you go to and you sit and you get your dinner and you are holding up paddles and asked to empty your wallet. It's not that. We provide a party. It's a space where, yes, we share our mission, we share our impact so that you know what these dollars are going to. And we also have a great time doing it. It is so much fun. We have fantastic music, we have great food, lots of different interactive points that make you feel like you're not just visiting this space, you're not just sitting down at a table with people you don't know, you're making friends at the Ronald McDonald House, and you're going to come back to our events every year. And then finally, we have a golf event as well. And these are spaces that are so important to have companies at because, again, you can sponsor, for instance, we have some organizations where they will have a certain number of volunteer hours their department has to hit or metrics their department has to hit. And what they do is the prize for hitting those metrics is going to a Ronald McDonald House event because it's so much fun. And then they get to meet other people. So I highly recommend companies and corporations getting more involved in our events. They're not going to regret it.
I love that. At Star, we're always looking for ways to connect our members to meaningful causes and community initiatives. So I love this. Give me a little bit more about the Storybook Ball. So I know that's coming up.
It is May 16th. The Storybook Ball is our biggest fundraiser of the year. Is it a fundraiser? Are we going to raise funds for our charity? Absolutely. And are we going to raise awareness, have a family story, have really the heart of our mission at this event as well? Yes, we're going to have the theme of Princess and the Frog because every year for Storybook, we always pick a story theme. And so it's New Orleans, 1920s, the Princess Tiana. And so it's going to be filled with a lot of beautiful purples and greens. And it's held at the Renaissance Hotel at International Mall this year. And so we ask folks to show up around 5:30 and the party ends at 11:30 with a lot of I can't give away the late night snack and surprise at the end, but I think people could put it together if they thought about who our mission partner is as a restaurant. So our late night snack is going to be something people know and love. And then all along the way, we're telling stories about the family impact, the community impact. You're also going to see a lot of familiar faces. We don't contract folks to come in and do the work for us. You're going to see our staff, you're going to see our volunteers, you're going to see our corporate partners showing up to help us promote this event and help us make it look as gorgeous as it's going to.
I love it. How can people get tickets?
People can get tickets if they visit our website, ronaldmcdonaldhousetb.org. And if they go to our events tab, they will see Storybook Ball right at the top. It will give them information on if they want to volunteer or if they would like to attend, which is definitely going to be highly, highly recommended.
I like that. For someone listening today who has heard of Ronald McDonald House but had never engaged before, what would you say to them?
Don't be afraid to go outside your comfort zone. I think when it comes to volunteerism, engagement, partnership, sponsorship, however you want to think about the way you want to get involved, because it looks so different. There can be a lot of second guessing of like, well, I don't know, maybe this is harder than I thought. I'm a bit uncomfortable. Where does this go? How does this work? And all it takes is a phone call. All it takes is knocking on our front door and saying, "Can I get a tour? I was just in the area and I've passed by your house a million times and I would love to see what you do. Do you have 5 minutes?" That's all it takes. There are real people on the other end of those phone lines wanting to talk to others and get them involved. There are real volunteers at the house waiting for someone to knock on the door so they can show them around. Go outside your comfort zone and just take the first step to learn more. We'll do the rest, and you'll be hooked once you learn more.
I love that. What is the biggest need right now where the community can step in and help?
Meals program. I've mentioned meals a lot, and it is not something I can understate because we have 5 locations. And so we feed families every single day. Our largest house this summer will house up to 80 to 90 people in it, and we feed those families every single day. We do not have a budget for meals. What we do is we reach out into the community and we partner with restaurants and we partner with local restaurateurs and community groups and networking groups to make sure we can feed our families. We do that every single day. And if there isn't a community group that can provide it, we figure it out. We make sure there is a hot meal every day without fail. And we would really love the community to come and help us more. It's been so tough to build back that constituency base we had after COVID. It was really tough. It's like a subscription, right? People would come every month and it was really, really powerful. And then COVID hit and we lost a lot of those subscribers to our meal program. And building that back up has been tough. And so now that we have a 5th house as well, we just want to see more of our community members serving meals in our houses. It's not difficult. Folks get really overwhelmed sometimes with what does it mean to provide a meal and how many people. All of the resources they need are on our website. Again, ronaldmcdonaldhousetb.org under Get Involved, Provide a Meal. There's all the resources they need. There's a frequently asked questions section. And then me and my team are, again, the real people on the other end of that phone to answer any of their questions.
Yes. What gives you hope when you think about the future of our Tampa Bay community?
That it continues to grow. That we are growing and that people, I've talked about it so much already, is people want purpose. They want to know that the actions they're taking, the things they're doing, the decisions they're making, that the effect they have is a positive one. And I think as long as we keep that mindset and as long as the people who are in this community keep that growth mindset, that's all the hope we need, because they'll keep showing up for us and showing up for our families.
Love it. Well, that brings us to the close of today's episode of Bridging the Bay. We're recording live from the Bree Framework studio. Great visuals don't just attract attention, they set expectations. That's the Bree Framework's difference and why real estate professionals across the region trust their photography. Learn more at FabreFrameworks.com. A huge thank you to Bree for joining us today and the incredible work she and her team does at the Ronald McDonald House Charities of Tampa Bay every day to support families during some of life's most challenging moments. Your compassion, leadership, and commitment to creating a true home away from home are making a lasting difference in our community. To our listeners, today's conversation is a reminder that community matters. In times of crisis, comfort, connection, and support can change everything. Whether you're an individual looking to volunteer, a business seeking to give back, or a realtor wanting to make an impact beyond the transaction, there are so many ways to help families feel supported when they need it most. If you found value in this episode, be sure to subscribe, follow, and share Bridging the Bay so you don't miss future conversations with the voices of organizations and leaders building stronger communities across Tampa Bay. Until next time, I'm Quan Rimmer, and remember, when we bridge the Bay, we bring the community closer.